I honestly think that more companies should get beginners to review their filmmaking products and gear, like Dehancer here, because let's face it, the pros, they already know how to make this stuff look good. I don't. I'm still completely new to color grading. In fact, I'm only 2 months into my filmmaking journey as it stands right now. And most of my time spent in Resolve is going between different nodes, stuffing up what effects I'm putting on what nodes, adjusting the wrong nodes at the wrong time. And then in the end, I'm just sitting there praying that I end up with some type of footage that looks palatable. So when I looked and I saw that I had an email from Dehancer asking if I could test their film emulation plugin, I was like, are you sure you emailed the right guy? Like, have you seen some of my footage? But nope, they wanted an honest review. And so instead of me sitting here and just giving you another polished douchebag YouTube review, I want to show you guys how it's been working for me. And then you can decide for yourself whether you think it's worth your investment, especially if you're like me and using the free version of Resolve, because we don't have access to a lot of these things that give our film so much texture and grain and deliciousness and all the things that us filmmakers crave. And I also have 4 kids, so I don't have time to be sitting here for 15 hours after I film just so I can hopefully get something that looks good. But what I can say before I jump on here and show you guys exactly what it's all about is that this has really improved my workflow. And I've got to say, I'm kind of excited to come and grade my footage now, as opposed to getting on here and thinking, how the hell am I going to do this? So stop talking, Jay. Let's get into it. Okay, let's get going. Now I've just uploaded this bit of footage here, and as you can see, we're in log format. So I'm going to add a node here, and normally what we're going to have to do is make this a CST, but I'm going to show you how I do all of this with just the one node. So you will find Dehancer after it's installed onto Resolve all the way down the bottom of your effects tab. We're going to bring this all the way over to our node. And as you can see, we have an image that looks like munt. But don't worry, because if we come all the way down here to the very bottom and options, we'll see a little tab that says disable all tools. Now this would be the first thing that I would request them to change about this, because look, it's only one click, but it does get annoying having to just keep, every time you put it on there, it's just one extra step. Okay, so now let's turn this into something that's actually viewable. We're going to go into our input. Now this, if we've already made this a CST, we don't need to worry about this, but because I'm doing all this on the one node, I am able to choose my camera, which is the Sony ZV-E1, and it was shot in S-Log3, S-Gamut.3.Cine. Why make it so difficult? Then we've got some general exposure controls and temperature controls and stuff, but we aren't going to touch that just yet because there's lots of other things down here that are going to affect our footage, and we'll just want to come back to this later. Okay, coming down to our next tab is our film stock. Now this is where things get very overwhelming. If I enable this and click through here, you will see over 60 different film stocks. Now this is where it starts getting tricky, because I actually think there's too many options here. Mostly because there's a lot that I would never use, and maybe that's just a personal thing, but I've probably got, say, 5 or 6 that I really enjoy. But when you first get this, you don't have the ability to hover over and see what effect is actually taking place on your footage. You have to physically come in and click on everything to see what it's doing. Now, after a little while of using it, I have gotten to know which ones I like and which ones I don't tend to like. There's some that I just don't use at all. But for now, we're going to go with this one, and you can just check to see what effect it has made already to our Rec 709 image. Here we're quite blue, we've got a lot of greens in the image, and this is just kind of bringing out a little bit more warmth and a little bit more reds. And we've got a push and pull here so you can see how much of an effect that's taking. Now I'm going to go a little bit old school here, so we're going to bring in a little bit more of these bronzy tones. Let's try that there for now. And whatever we don't like, we can come back and correct later. Film developer, this is more of our contrast and our color boosting and stuff. Now again, I'm not going to touch this yet. I'm going to wait till I've added a few more of the more potent effects. Film compression is one of them. Now if we look down here onto our waveform, you will see that where our highlights are sitting, I mean, they're not sitting too high, it's pretty good, but let's just say that this is a bit too punchy and I want to bring it down a little bit. Well, if I enable this, check out this waveform down here. Just compresses and flattens those highlights so we can get more of an image that we're looking for. Okay, now not only can we do that, we can adjust the total impact and what the camera is seeing at the time. Okay, so if you want something to punch out a little bit more, if you want a little bit more tonal range, or you want it maybe a little bit wider, you want it a little bit darker, this is up to you completely, but we're gonna go somewhere maybe around here. I don't want to completely wipe it out. I want to have a little bit of punch in this. This here isn't really my main point of focus, so I don't want it to be too punchy. I don't want it to be washed out though either. Expand isn't something that I use a lot of because it's really literally just affecting our black and white points. But if it's something that you need to do towards the end of your editing, it does come in handy for sure. We're going to turn that off for now. Now, the next thing that really makes a difference on this is the print. So the print isn't what the film stock is. That's a completely different thing. The print is actually what the film is printed onto when it goes onto the projector to be shown. So we don't have too many options here, thank God. But the ones that we do have, I really like. And probably my favorite one, especially for maybe this type of image, will be the Kodak 2383. That's almost like an industry standard, I guess you could say. The other one that's really nice is the Fujifilm. It's a little bit more blue, a little bit more green. For this image, I'm not looking for that. The glossy paper you can see here it just pretty much adds a bit more contrast. It doesn't really add these punchy tones. I like these punchy tones. We can also adjust how much it affects our white points. So I want these warmer tones to be coming in. Can adjust the exposure. I don't want that up too high. Our contrast, let's bring that down just a fraction. Color density, what's that going to give us? A lot in the sky. So let's just maybe desaturate that a little bit in our sky, just a fraction. And again, we just toggle this on and off and we can see instantly here straight away, that's given us a completely different look to what we started with. Okay, let's keep scrolling down. We have our color head up next. Now this is pretty self-explanatory, but what I really like and enjoy about using this is instead of being stuck down here in my primaries and HDR and remembering to click between these, remembering what node I'm on as well and going between all these different things, it gets too much. So with this, I really like this because this kind of reminds me of CapCut, okay? I don't have this stuff to look at. I have these sliders and to me, it's just a little bit more intuitive. So not only can I adjust the overall temperatures, which is pretty nice, I can do my shadow tones, which is similar to down here, but the sliders to me are just a bit nicer. I like using them. I like it. So I want some more of these warmer tones coming in again. That might be a little bit too much there. Highlights. Yeah, let's say we're about here. And we can just toggle again that on and off. Very subtle change, but if you've been grading for any period of time that's more than 24 hours, you realize the smaller the changes, the better. Now, let's get into the fun stuff. Our film grain. I guess this is why we're here, right? It's for the filmic look. It's for all these delicious qualities. So let's see what we've got here. First up is our grain, and we have anywhere from 8mm ISO 50, which is, let me zoom in here. I'll enable this and then zoom in. Get rid of this so we've got a bigger image. You can see right away as I add this, that's a lot of grain. Now the 8mm at ISO 500 would be the most grain that you could get, and you can also adjust just how much of it you want. For me personally, I like the 65mm at 50. Again, I'm about small increments. I don't like these big things. And let's face it, I've got an expensive camera with a great sensor, with good glass. I don't just want to put noise on top of it and then lose that. I want to have a mixture of those two things. I want to have a look that merges two looks together. That's what I'm going for. So for me, if I zoom in here, you can see we're adding this little bit of texture and you can see how much smoother it is, especially look at this panel here, this face. Okay, so you can come in and adjust how much of this you want, but just note that even all the way down the bottom, you are still going to have some type of grain. So that's just something to keep in mind. Halation, another very filmic quality. Now again, the lower the millimeter of film, the more the effect's going to be. I'll come and zoom in on here on the highlights so we can see just what it's doing. It's creating almost like an aberration on top here. And this is something that people really do go for. Again, I prefer the more subtle look. I don't want my image to be completely taken over by just one effect. So I'm going to bring this back down here and come back to the full image and just see what we've got here. Hard to see from a distance, but it's just enough. It's just enough. Let's have a look. Okay, there we go. I like it. I like it. Okay, now moving on down, we have bloom, and this is where we get to make our film look like an 80s beauty film. Now I'm going to say it again, little increments. So I'm going to go to 65 and I'm going to bring this down just so you guys can see the difference here. If I bring this, jack this all the way out, we get a lot of highlight roll off. If I bring this down, we just get a tiny, tiny little bit. And you know, I like the little bit. So if I toggle that on and off, you can see that slight glow rolling off the edge of our building there. Okay, film damage is pretty self-explanatory. I mean, if you want your film to look like it's been around for 400 years, you can do that. It's not something that I technically use very often. I mean, I have used it, but very, very, very rarely. For the sake of this video, I will leave it on here so you can see what it's doing. Film breath is a pretty cool effect, but it's not something that I really get into too much. It's going to give a little bit of a color cast and a push and pull depending on the print that you're using with the projection. Again, it's a preferred look. For the sake of the video, I will put it on. Gate weave, look, to be honest, I never really use this either because one, it does crop in on your image, and two, it makes your image jitter and move around like it is going through a projector. If that's what you're looking for, that's cool. But me, no. Overscan, this is a really cool effect, but again, I've probably only used it twice. It makes your footage look like it's still on a negative. Now, we can adjust the scale of this. We can adjust how far in it goes. There's quite a few different ones. The Ultra Panavision one's pretty cool. I mean, it is an effect that is very particular, but if it's something that you're into, you go for it, girl. Vignette, very self-explanatory, but always very helpful. Now, I can adjust the feathering on this so I can see exactly where my vignette will be, and I'm thinking I'm going to bring it around here. I'm going to adjust the aspect ratio of it so we've got a nice little football. Take the feathering out. Ooh, look at this. And we might just bring up the exposure a bit. Let's drag it to bring it more here. There we go. And bring the sides of it up. Oh yeah, nice. Again, little bits make the big difference. Now this monitor tab here is a little gem. The false color option really can be a lifesaver. Now, if you're familiar with this, you understand that you get to see where your exposure is with color. So if we look down here, we've got purples, which is almost completely underexposed and blacked out. And there's a little bit here, but I don't mind that. I actually like having things dark down a little bit. Become all the way up here, you can see what would be blown out. Now, we've got lots of yellows, and we've got lots of pinks. So all this here is within a very good range. So if you're not sure about how something's supposed to be looking and you're down here in your waveforms and you're not really sure exactly where you are, this I found to be very, very, very helpful. And our output tab literally just gives us the total impact of what we have done on this node with the Dehancer emulation tool. Okay, so that's what we started with in our log footage, and that's what we've ended up with. A little bit of playing around. Now, if you're feeling like a big dog and you really love the work that you've been doing, you can make your own LUTs and you can export them onto your camera and you can bake them into your footage and do all these different things if you like. Or you can sell them for $19.95, make yourself $1. So that's a pretty cool little option. And just down here in terms of editing, we can use normal fast, which means there's going to be less lag while we're editing. As soon as you finish getting what you want, you just get it up here to slow, which means it's high quality, but yeah, it's just going to be slower on your computer. License info, this is all your information. When you go into this, you will have to activate it. Here is where you update and check your profile. So every so often, I'll just come in here and click on that and just make sure that everything is up to date. Press OK. And yeah, that's basically it. But if I quickly come here and just show you what the Rec 709 version looks like, that, my friends, is a big difference. We can zoom all the way into here and we can see all that little details that we've got going. Wow. Again, I like it. Okay, so that's how I've been using Dehancer, but the real question is, after 2 weeks of use, do I actually think that it's worth the investment? Is it worth my hard-earned cash for this film emulation plugin? I'm gonna say, yeah, I actually really do think it is, despite the fact that there are a few annoyances I have. The first one being is as soon as you activate it onto a node, you have to disable all the effects up first. Again, it's only one click and it's only a little scroll down, but it's just something that it takes up a little bit of extra time. And when you're doing clip after clip, that annoyance kind of starts to add up. The only other thing I've really had an issue with is the amount of film stocks there are to choose from. And again, I know that just sounds like really petty to be complaining about having too much for something that you're paying for, but mix that with the fact that you can't hover over and see what it's actually doing to your image. You have to physically click through all of those 65, 66, however many there are film stocks. That's a little bit too much. I mean, it's a lot more helpful when you know the looks that you're going to get from them, but it takes time to get there. And again, time is something that is precious to me. I'm not wanting to spend 5 minutes per stock just making sure that it's exactly what I want. Getting it set up and installed here on DaVinci was actually pretty easy. There was only one little hiccup I had. I didn't realize, and maybe this is just because I'm a noob, but I had to activate my license before I could use it. And then once I used it, I also had to download all the profiles. That wasn't really made clear in the startup pack that I got once I downloaded it. So if we could see something like that added on there, that would be awesome. But apart from that, it's really, really helped me. And more to the point, I'm actually kind of excited to come in here and grade now after I filmed. I'm like, oh, what can I draw from this? And when I'm filming, I'm actually seeing the look that I'm wanting on the screen, like before I'm actually doing it. So that has been very helpful in terms of how I go out to film and how I set up my shots. And I feel like it's really helped me get a little bit of character and a little bit of personality into my footage, because prior to that, I mean, yeah, it looks good, but it was very generic and very YouTuber-ish. And as of the last few weeks, I've been very excited to see what I can get using this. It really has been good. But apart from those few little cons, if you even really want to call them cons, I honestly have found this to be extremely helpful. Not only has it made it faster, but as I said, I'm excited to come back and see what type of look I can get, what type of character I can build into my footage. It's kind of eliminated the fact of me coming home, putting everything up here onto the computer, and then being stressed out about trying to get a certain look or trying to figure out how I'm supposed to use all these different nodes and making sure I'm not stuffing something up, which is very, very common for me to do. So all in all, is it worth it for you? Well, you'll have to figure that out for yourself. And hopefully today's video has been able to help you. If you do choose to try it out, I have a discount code down below. You can check that out. But otherwise, stop watching videos and go film something.